Well, first, we just want to say hi to everybody. Thanks so much for popping in and for taking the time to work on this with us, and looking forward to kicking off this project. And so before we get started a little bit, just in case we don't all know each other, hold on. Wanted to just kind of go around the room and just introduce ourselves, just really briefly name where we're located and something we're passionate about. And so I'll just go first. Hey everybody, I'm Andrea and I'm located in New York City, and I'm passionate about cold cases, but I know we're all going to say that, which is great. So just to further drill that down a little bit more, I like to focus a lot on cases that have an intimate partner violence element to it. So those are cases that I particularly work on.
Hi guys, I'm Lexi. I also am from New York. I'm really passionate about the research side of things. So
next, my name is Mackenzie. I'm located in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I, other than cold cases in general, am passionate about the ethical side of true crime.
Hi, I'm Tammy, and I'm in Florida, and I like working on unsolved homicides of all kinds.
Dana, you can go. Rachel, in Ohio, and I'm going to go off the rails and not link it to true crime and say pets in general, mostly dogs, but I love cats and birds, and I do dog pet sitting on the side. And that's where I am most lunch hours. If you want to talk to me, you have to talk to me while I'm walking a dog.
So I'm Dana and I live in Georgia. I am passionate about everything that you all said. So I love pets. I'm passionate about ethical true crime. Research is my jam. And yeah, I mean, cold cases and just uncovered.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for sharing. That was awesome. Very cool. Okay, and here we go. I'm assuming I have a little bit of an issue with sharing this. It's taken a little bit of time. There we go. Great. Okay. So just to kick this off a little bit more, we wanted to give a super quick overview of just some background with Missing Children's Day, and just to talk a little bit more about where this even came from. And so this started 43 years ago. There was a case local to us here in New York City of Etan Kalil Patz, where he was on his way to the school bus stop and he was actually kidnapped on the way there. And so that case really launched a national movement where a lot of people started to pay more attention to missing children's cases. And Etan's case was actually one of the first cases ever on the milk carton campaigns that started. And that started really soon after Etan unfortunately went missing. And so his case is an interesting one. There was somebody who was actually found guilty. It was considered a no-body homicide case, and this individual confessed and was found guilty. So in some ways, this case is kind of closed. But at the end of the day, his remains still have not been found. And so the day that he went missing on May 25th has become the National Day of Awareness for unsolved cases of missing children. And so here at Uncovered, we really wanted to talk more about this crisis and share really briefly just a couple stats about understanding how big this really is. So just to talk really quickly about why children even vanish in the first place. As we all know, doing research on all these cases, there's a multitude of different reasons why somebody would go missing. But for children in particular, there's about 5 main reasons why a child would disappear. And in order of relevance, it's running away, cases where children disappear that way, gang involvement, sex trafficking, kidnapping, and then unfortunately unsolved homicides. And so we're going to be looking at some of those cases today. And then just a few more facts, again, about this crisis. It's something that's ongoing, and the FBI reports that there's almost 500,000 children that are reported missing every year. And then just last year alone, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children Center received almost 100,000 calls. There were reports, or it was a mix of reporting cases, some tips that came in, which was great, but also, of course, reports of digital child exploitation. So this is a crisis that is still unfortunately growing, and any way that we can really help bring attention to these cases is the way that we want to help. So that's really where Uncovered comes in here for Project Don't Forget Me. And so the name pays homage to the forget-me-not flower, which is actually a symbol that a lot of departments like the FBI use often to represent this day and to remember those who have been missing. And so really what we want to do with this work is to tap into the power of the collective, of you guys, of the community. And to do that, we have outlined 2 different research opportunities that you can do in this multi-week project, so that you can get your feet wet with doing some research, and then of course, try to help move some information around with this crisis. Lexi, Mackenzie, if any of you guys want to pop in.
Sure. Okay, so we have created 2 different versions. The first is the primary case card. So typically that is 30 minutes or so, not so much of a deep dive. So it's a really great way if you want to do research, but you don't want to kind of take on the emotionally taxing part of it. And then the enhanced case card is also a really good option as well. So that's roughly 60 minutes or so, and it's a little bit more of a deep dive, but you're still not really getting into the nitty gritty as far as a timeline or people or location. So it's all the other factors. Can we change to the next slide?
Yes.
Awesome. So in the primary, what we are looking for is at least a photo of the victim, ideally a photo of when they went missing, as well as an age progressed photo. Key dates, so typically that would be their birthday, the date missing, victim description, so eye color, hair color, and any distinguishing characteristics that are necessary for identifying the victim, a location, so a city and a state, tip information, and at least 1 reputable source. So we are ideally pulling from like the first page of Google when you search the person's name. Then the enhanced case card, so that's usually 60 minutes or so. It includes everything that I just mentioned in the primary card, but we are adding roughly 80 character headlines. So that is a general, just like a 1 sentence, child was went missing from the bus stop, something like that. Abbreviated narrative, so we're talking 3 to 5 sentences about the case. And then we are also asking for a little bit more sources, so typically more things you can pull from at least the first page of Google, and then how you can help. So that can either be like a Facebook page, a petition if it comes up, something like that.
Fantastic. Yeah, and so we're going to go over a little bit more. We can go into a bit more detail about those 2 different responsibility areas. But really for this, what we want to talk about as well is how to even look at the cases that we pulled, so that you guys don't feel like you need to go look online and scour for cases on your own. We've definitely pulled a bunch for you. And so we can start to look at that now. I have it up so I can actually screen share it. Just give me 1 second.
So one thing that's important to note is when you are doing this project, you only have to fill out 1 version of the case file. So what's good for that is we have 2 different lists, so you don't have to worry about kind of tag teaming on both sides. So we have different cases to pull from.
I will interject really quick and just add that so the primary case cards, all of the ones that we have on a list that you're about to see, they do not currently live on the site. They are cases that will need to be added to the site at some point. We've you can see in a minute, but we've got them broken up into 2 different sections, and we'll explain that here in a minute. And then for the enhanced case cards, those would be cases that are already on the site in the case card format. But we just, maybe they don't have a picture, there's only one source, just to kind of fill that out a little bit more, is kind of the goal with the enhanced.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So Andrea just pulled up our syllabus. So this kind of goes into a little bit more detail. It's a really great reference, and you will see that we have linked the 2 forms of case files throughout in the community, as well as in the syllabus here, and even on the sign-up sheet. So we put it's as easy as possible to access. So we'll start with claiming a case. So essentially, we have built a really easy Google Sheet. And perfect. So the information section there, which is like the first page you'll see when you open it, it does explain a little bit about the project as well, which is all still in the syllabus, which is great. It's just a good reference if you need it. And then the primary case card, which is the second tab, has a list. So what we are doing is, if you see it in the first section here, essentially anything above that thick line is cases that we've had submitted to our site. If you notice that there's a box around it, that happens to be either a sibling or a connection in that regard. So we would ask if you could start with the cases that have been submitted to the site, which would be really great. We have actually went ahead and linked all of the NCMEC posters in the name, which is great. So that can even act as your first source if you want. And for the cases that, yeah, so it's great. And one thing to keep in mind is when you access those posters, those cannot be archived. So what you would do is you would just kind of put your name on someone that you'd like to claim. And then you can access, once again, the template, which is linked up on top. And no matter where you go to access the template, it'll all bring you to the same spot, which is nice. Yeah. So Andrea is kind of walking through the process.
Yeah, and so even to talk a little bit more about that further, and everybody will get access to this link, so don't feel like you're missing out on anything. You'll have access to this. And yeah, so just like Lexi said, when you open this, down on the bottom here, you're just gonna select on either side of whether or not you're working on primary case cards, which are, again, cases that are not on the website currently, that we're looking to add into the database. And then, of course, down here for the enhanced case cards, these are cases that are already on the website, and we can just open this one, for example. But as you can see, these are cases that don't have a lot of information already on them. Here we go. Yeah, so there are cases that still need more information, anything that needs more attention that we have. You'll see we probably only have a source or 2 on here. And so really these are the cases where you're going to be spending a little bit more time gathering more information on them. But yeah, so for all of these cases, they are already linked out to the uncovered case file that already exists. And same thing with the primary case card section. You're just going to go in, look for a case, you know, whether you want to pick a case that's local to you, to your state, or if by going through and looking at some of the cases, some of the circumstances that are listed, or something that you really want to research, by all means, this is not a list that you need to start from top to bottom. Go ahead and look at any of the cases that you feel like you really want to research, and then click on them that way. And then again, as we were talking about over here, all you're going to do is just put your name, note that the status is that you're currently working on it, just so that we don't have people who are working on the same case at the same time. And yep, and then all you're going to do is you're going to make a copy of this template here, which I think some of you guys are going to be really familiar with. And so this is an abbreviated Google Sheet to doing the case card information. So again, these are some of the information pieces that we were just talking about earlier. So entering the name of the individual, the location, just some of the basic information from some of the sources that you pull. And then anytime you're done with these, you're just going to go ahead and let us know. All righty. Any other questions so far? Cool. I will say again, you know, we don't mind which group anyone decides to be in, and you don't need to know right now, of course. We understand that a lot of these cases, sometimes there can be an emotional element to it. And, you know, again, this is really just work to do if you have extra time and really want to put your skills to the test of doing some more research for us, which we would greatly appreciate. And yeah, so either the primary case card research or the enhanced case card research, just feel free to work on whatever it is that you can. We list the time requirements, just or I should say, you know, what a typical time outline would look like, just so that you can feel more comfortable knowing what you're going to be selecting. Yeah.
I will say too about
when you said,
oh, go for it.
When you said that you can pick what side you want to be on, are you referring to the cards as far as the enhanced case card or the other one?
Yes, that is correct. Essentially, every victim only needs one version of the card. At one point in time, they will be fully visualized, but for right now, we're just trying to do some of the research for now.
Okay.
And what's nice too is with the enhanced option, we have linked it to the website as well. So sometimes some of the cases on there may already have, let's say, like the hair color, eye color, things like that. And it's great just to confirm it once again, just to be sure, and add whatever information you are also able to find.
Okay.
Yep. And you're welcome to sign up for more than one at a time, whatever works for you on your own timeline. We gave some starting point sources as well in the syllabus, which is great, which is where we usually kind of start off with. Typically, like NamUs is great, the Charlie Project, Black and Missing, Doe Network, NCMEC, which is typically already tagged in that list. If you happen to select a case that doesn't have the poster, that's because it wasn't listed on the site, so we pulled it from somewhere else. And then FBI as well as local and state police departments are also a really great starting point as well. But yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to say that this is super organized.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's fabulous. So it's going to make doing this very easy. So you guys did a great job. I do have one question. I have a case that I would love to see have a case card at least. So can I submit that? And I will do one on your list, but can I add in one of my own?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks.
So we just kind of pulled them, not necessarily at random, but like we wanted to make sure that we had a fairly diverse group of different kids on each list. So, you know, if there's a child that you know that is missing that has a name, sorry, not a NamUs, a poster from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children that you don't see on this list, and whether it is or isn't on the site, you can go ahead and add that in. Because, you know, it'll hopefully be added sometime in the future. So we just kind of pulled from a list.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Of course.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Any other questions so far? Wonderful. So next steps for everybody. What we will do is we created, I think I have it up here. Yes, we created a workspace in the back end in the Uncovered community. So all the stuff that we mentioned today is accessible there. And I believe I think we still have to add everybody to this. I'm not sure. But yes, everybody will get access to this. And the syllabus that we talked about is going to be hyperlinked here. So this link will bring you out to this page here, where you're going to see, again, all of this information, as well as more links to the same Google Sheet for selecting a case. So that will all be accessible, which will be here again as well. And then, of course, the case card templates to help you in a organized way, lay out all the information that you're finding.
One thing to mention too is if you decide that you start researching a case and you get really pulled into it and want to kind of continue the visualization, you can absolutely do that. Just let us know, just so that we don't have duplicate work as far as kind of making you do one version of it and then kind of having to bring it to the full visualization. So we can absolutely help transfer that information over. Not a problem at all, but you can totally do that. Just let us know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we intend the project. Oh, keep going. Go for it.
So when you're saying the total visualization, you're referring to the whole entire case for that child?
Correct. So that would be the timeline, that would be the people, the map, all of that, which is what Rachel will be kind of going over the next few weeks in her skill shares. So she'll be talking more about that part of it. We're only talking about some parts of it for this project.
Okay.
Yep.
So the two, I will just add this really quick, the two spreadsheets that we put together for the primary and the enhanced case cards, as of now, this is the only project that they're being used for. So, if you wanted to do a full visualization, you could let us know and we could get you that full digital case file to do that. But these templates are just for this event as of now.
Oh, okay.
And if you need us to kind of go over them a little bit and just give a quick synopsis, we can for that as well.
Okay. I'm sure I'll have more questions once I get started in it.
Of course.
And once you get started in that, if you have any questions, you can send one of us a message, and we can just a direct message in the community, and we can help you with whatever you need, or you can schedule office hours with one of us, and we can walk you through whatever you're having trouble with.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. And what's really nice about this as well is that, like we said before, it's good if you kind of want to do research, but you don't want to kind of take the plunge and do the timeline and all that, because that can be a little bit more intense for some people, which we absolutely understand. So it is nice to kind of be able to do it, to contribute in this capacity. And you could also, if you want, you could sign up for a primary and an enhanced. You can kind of do more than one if you wanted, however many you would like. But yeah, and it's okay if it takes you a little bit longer than a half hour or a little bit longer than an hour, that's fine. But if you're finding it takes you much more than that, contact us and we'll see if we can help with any kind of issues that may be arising there.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. So just to wrap this up, one thing that we were really wanting to do with this project is have it be just a couple weeks of, again, just a way to get this going. But of course, this information is going to live in the community forever. And so anytime that you feel like you have free time and want to work on any of these cases, you're more than welcome to. We're not trying to put a timeline of like, we're only doing this for a couple weeks and then all of this is gonna disappear, because it won't. But we were really thinking that in probably in about 2 weeks to all just kind of reconvene and have a little bit of a show and tell, to just share some of the work that we've done. And of course, that event and everything will be mentioned in the community in the coming weeks. So don't stress about it now. But yeah, just something that we thought we could share with everybody of all the work that we're doing here.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing too, I would just make sure that when you submit the case file link back to us on that sign up sheet, make sure that we are able to access it so that we can take the information and upload it into the database. I believe the permissions are set, so that should be fairly simple, where you just copy and paste that URL up at the top into the sign up sheet. But if there's any issues, you can always contact us and we'll help you.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Anything else? All right, I think we're good. If anyone has any questions, of course, you can always message us and we'll be happy to help any way we can. We hope everyone has a good night.
Thank you.
Of
Yes.
course.
Thanks so much, everybody, for spending your evening with us.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a great evening.
Good evening.